Good morning, Dietmar.
Good morning, Jim. Nice to
How are
see
you
you again.
keeping?
I'm keeping well. I've just done 10,700 steps power walk again this morning, 7:30, Anna and I. So I'm
Very good.
doing that every day, and I'm getting better and better. And I'm seeing the consultant on Thursday, and hopefully he's going to give me the all clear. Then obviously I can do a bit more exercise because
Yes.
this lockdown is it's been disastrous really for everybody. And I've put a bit of weight on, Jim, which is not very good.
You need to get that golf swing working as well.
I don't know. I'm swinging that far at the moment. I've put about 7 pounds on it.
Oh
I
dear.
can't believe it. It's all this wine I'm drinking
Oh,
every
it's
afternoon.
fatal.
With the weather being nice, the bar opens at 4 o'clock, and we sit in the garden and open a bottle of wine.
Well,
So
let's pick up where
yeah,
we left off last
yeah,
time.
yeah,
We were talking about the third division days. Perhaps we
yeah,
can fast forward to 1966-67 season
yeah.
when City won promotion.
That's
You'd been a
right.
regular in the side for what, 3 or 4 years by then.
That's right.
But
Yeah,
you've been a halfback basically, a midfield terrier,
yeah.
um, and then all of a sudden, Jimmy decides to convert you to a left back. What was that all
Yeah,
about?
I think what it was, we obviously in training we used to have 1 or 2 practice matches during the week, 20-minute sessions, and JH used to kind of just change us in various positions, certain players. And on one occasion, I think basically, I think we had, I think John and Mick Kearns. I think they were both injured. So
Well,
JH in the early one of the training sessions, he put me right back. And then obviously one of the system we used to play was we used to have the fullbacks, attacking fullbacks going down the flanks. Um, so obviously it went very well, and then my midfield days were over. Then Jimmy was playing fullback. Um, but also the fact is I could basically kick with both feet, so it wasn't really a problem for me playing left back or right back. So I kind of changed over on numerous games, playing from left back to right back. So and of course I used to say had a bit of pace, and yeah, used to do a lot of attacking, go down the flanks, and then we had a system whereby whatever side if the ball was more on the right hand side, then we'd go on the attack, and then the left back would kind of come round. So have it pivoted its formation type of thing. So it worked very well.
so your first game at left back was
Yeah,
the opening game of the season against Hull City,
that's right.
and
I scored an absolutely unbelievable goal. How I even thought of contemplating having a shot from just inside the Hull's half was just ridiculous. But I did. I hit it, and it bounced. It bounced 3 times, Jim. I couldn't believe it. As the keeper came out, for some unknown reason, he went to dive on it, missed it. The ball went underneath him, and he finished up in the back of the net. It was just like even now I still cannot believe it. It was. I mean, even thinking of having a shot from that distance, I must have had a brainstorm at that particular price. But basically, yeah, it was. It put us in the lead.
so
It was. It
that
was.
season, City were favourites to go up after they finished third the year before.
Yeah,
But it wasn't. The goals were in short supply, weren't they? And there
that's
were
right.
a few defeats, and things
That's
weren't
right.
looking too rosy.
No, no. Obviously that was the year when we basically we were struggling near the bottom of the league, weren't we?
Well, I think you were sort of mid-table, but um, then came the game at Carlisle. What happened there?
Yeah, that was a really tremendous trip. That was. We went up and stopped overnight, and he picked his side, and we went out, and I think things went quite horribly wrong during the first half, and we came in, and in no uncertain terms, if things weren't going right, Jimmy would kind of come in, and he wouldn't go completely mad, but he obviously, in certain terms, letting us know what he needed and what he wanted, and basically we had to do it. And then suddenly he turned around and had to go Gibbo, and Gibbo just basically went ballistic. Um, and the next thing, while we were all sitting there, he took his boot off and he threw the boot at JH. So that was it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so Gibbo was dropped from the team,
yeah,
and he asked for a transfer, as far as I remember.
yeah. But that, the thing was, he was such a good player. I mean, he basically was way ahead of his time. You know, fast forward as a player, and small but skillful, and he really was, you know, a very good player. So when apparently he was asked for a transfer, but then obviously they must have patched things up, and got back into the side, and he was one of the main instigators for us changing our course, and started getting results again. But you know, he really was a good player, tenacious as well. You know, for a little guy.
That was an incredible run, though, wasn't it? 25 games unbeaten.
Yeah, I mean that. I don't. If you remember, it was Christmas time. I think we beat Ipswich 5-1 in the snow on a Friday night, and and JH kind of made a statement saying we would not lose another game between now and the end of the season. And I mean, how could you predict that? And then it turned right. We never lost another game, and that whole period. I mean, from that time, it was just ongoing big roller coaster for Coventry City under JH. There was never ever a dull moment. And when I think back of from '67 up to a time that he left, it was just unbelievable. It was well, it was just untrue. It was absolutely fantastic.
So
What he did for Coventry City was just out of this world.
So you mentioned Gibbo. Who else in that promotion team was a big influence on results?
Well, obviously myself. Obviously myself.
Yeah.
And then of course, you know, you got the experience of Snod's, John, you know, Snod's Sillett and Big George.
Yeah.
And then one of the main players as far as Jimmy was concerned was Brian Hill. Brian had a specific job to do in the midfield, and his job was basically to pick the opposition's top midfield player and to stop him from playing, stop him from dictating. And he did an absolutely tremendous job every game. Brian did. He was the unknown hero, we would say, because obviously he never kind of shone out, but he always was reliable and first class in stopping the opposition from playing. And then obviously we had Ronnie. You know,
Ronnie Farmer, Ronnie Reese.
Sorry?
Ronnie Reese or Ronnie Farmer?
No, Ronnie Reese. No, yeah, Ronnie Reese. I mean, he was. He got the pace, and I remember watching him. I actually got a video against when we played against Bolton. It's Highfield Road, and he got the ball in our own half, and he actually took 5 or 6 players on, right, got to the edge of the box, and he was just unbelievable. His pace and his movement was great. He was really, really first class winger. Really played well. Well, obviously played for Wales and that. So yeah, he was great.
So, do you remember much about the finale beating Wolves and then beating Millwall and being champions? Do you remember much about that?
Yeah, I mean the Wolves game was just something that you just couldn't believe it. I mean, we'd already got promotion, and it was just who was going to actually win the league. It's either going to be us or Wolves. Obviously, we had to win. And then as we came out, I mean, you got supporters that they were hanging from the floodlights. I mean, they were all you just couldn't believe it, Jim. And the atmosphere. Well, I mean, that alone gave us the inspiration to obviously perform. But unfortunately, Peter Knowles, Cyril Knowles' brother, he got a goal just before half time, and we actually went in 1-0 down, and came in the dressing room. But JH, he was very constructive. Didn't shout or anything, and just told us 1 or 2 different things that we needed to do to improve, and to go out there and perform to the way that we could perform. And he felt confident that we would get results. Well, come the second half, yeah, we went out there and obviously we performed and we got the goals. And that's when the promotion and the celebration started. That was really something to treasure for the rest of my life. It was just unbelievable.
You just mentioned something there which sparked a question from me. You know, you talked about Jimmy's motivational skills, man management, if you like. But then you just mentioned his tactical. He changed things tactically. Was he a good tactician in that sense? Was it him or was it somebody else?
No. I mean, basically, I mean, we're talking in terms of. I mean, he had an assistant manager, Alan Dix. Now, Alan was great coach, and also Pat Saywood. Yes. So he was a good coach as well, and we would work on things. And Jimmy would himself do sessions and work on tactics and various aspects of the game, every week in training, and he'd even get involved in games. 5-a-sides and that. So he was very, very important part of the training sessions all the time. So it was always exciting as well, the training sessions. You know, never boring.
So you've won promotion and you're just about to kick off in the first division, and Jimmy announces he's leaving the club.
That's right.
Do you remember that?
Sorry?
You remember that?
I remember that, yes. I remember that. We just, I think everybody was shocked. But I think it was reading between the lines, something obviously went amiss between himself and Derek Robbins. And I don't know how true the rumours were, but talk was that JH wanted a 10-year contract, a new 10-year contract, which obviously Derek Robbins obviously refused. So then obviously JH decided to move on, and he'd obviously got insight into the new profession that he went to was obviously with the television. So it was a bit of a shock. Well, not a bit of a shock. It was a big shock because he'd done so much for Coventry City Football Club, and what he'd achieved, or he helped us to achieve, was just remarkable. Jerry was remarkable.
Well, he kept the reins for a couple of months, didn't he? Until
that's
Noel
right.
Campbell arrived.
That's right. Yeah.
That must have been a strange scenario with him still there, knowing he's going to leave.
That's right.
Weren't great, were they?
Yeah, but I think we obviously all still had a lot of respect for JH. So it's a matter of we were just kind of continuing to try and play the way he wanted us to play. And he was still, without of the fact he was leaving, he was still 100% behind the club and helping us and sorting problems out during that time before he actually left. So, but I mean, the thing was, I think also when we got promotion to the first, we actually went back over to Barbados for the second time, and spent another 3-4 weeks over in Barbados.
Right.
You know, we went to Barbados, Trinidad, Jamaica, St. Lucia, and then we finished up with going to Bermuda for the final journey before we came back home.
No wives this time.
No wives at all. No. But the thing was, he kind of met, he met his second wife over in Barbados, and they were stopping in the same hotel, and they obviously met one another, and they spent quite a bit of time together. And on the flight back, we flew into Bermuda. We all got off, and it then went from Bermuda to London Heathrow, and obviously the two with her and her sister, that they basically went on back to Heathrow to London, and then we spent 5 days in Bermuda, and then when we got back, we arrived at Heathrow, and all of a sudden a few little rumours whispers going around that one or two little things has happened in Barbados, which obviously shouldn't have happened, and all hell was let loose for a short while. So I think that's the least I can say to that particular session. But the funny part about it was when we were in Bermuda, we actually kind of stopped at the naval base in Bermuda, and they obviously looked after us. So we kind of downgraded as far as the room service and that was concerned, but it's really something completely different, you know. So we had our own little room, and obviously, you know, in the big long corridor type effect with a little bit. But then they kind of looked after us really well, took us to functions, and they treated us like royalty. It was an unbelievable trip. But you see, this was typical of Coventry City. What we actually achieved between that 1960, well, from 1966 to until he left, it was just everything just seemed to turn to gold. We were on such a high, and when I think back of, boy, was I lucky to have been born when I was, and to have actually experienced and the years that the club had that success under Jim Hill. There was never ever a dull moment, and there's always something on the horizon. I mean, even to the extent where we actually went on train down to London, the whole squad, and they hired a complete carriage, and we had the cameras and interviews, and we went down to London and went to the studios, and had interviews and recorded the Sky Blue song. And then we had a nice meal, and then we got back on the train and came back home. I mean, things like that, just out of the blue. Yeah. It was just incredible. It really was, Jim.
So we're in the first division, and finally Noel Campbell was appointed and Jimmy leaves. How different was things under Noel?
Oh, completely different. Complete different contrast altogether. But can I just kind of say, Jim, when we got into the first division, our first game was against Burnley. Am I correct? First game of the season.
That's right, at Burnley, yeah.
Yeah, and that really started off well because we finished up being caught in the traffic. So we finished up, the coach stopped and got the kit out. We actually had to get changed on the coach, and we arrived half an hour after kick-off. So we got off the coach straight onto the pitch.
Yeah.
So needless to say that things didn't go too well that day, and we got beat 2-0.
2-1, yeah.
2-1, sorry, yeah. So that was a great start, and then we had Nottingham Forest on a Tuesday night at the Forest, and that's when George broke his leg.
Yeah.
That was a horrendous night. That was, and when we basically he got taken to hospital, and when we got back to the ground at Highfield Road, I think every one of us got in our cars and we went straight to the hospital to go visit him. Yeah. But as usual, broken leg, but Big George, no, he was there, kind of, bit of pain, but he didn't show it. He didn't want any of us to see that he was in pain. That's typical of George, True leader, great captain, great guy.
I wonder if he hadn't broken his leg that night, whether that season would have been any different, because it was a constant battle against relegation.
That's right.
I wonder if George hadn't been injured, it might have worked out differently.
Well, one will never know, really. But I mean, because he had such an influence, and things could have been completely different. I mean, we eventually got to Tony. Was it Tony Knapp from Southampton?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it didn't really work out for Tony on that particular side. But it was a tough season, that was.
So in what way was Noel different to Jimmy?
Well, in every sense, is the way he kind of his tactical talks, the training sessions were different. The system we played was completely different, and he I think it was a bit of a shock to all of us, to be honest with you. I mean, a lot of us, I myself had a lot of admiration for him because I thought he's a tremendous fullback for Man United and West Ham. He left back and he was kind of, had this finesse, and a great left foot, and his passing ability was first class, and he looked a class player like. But he, to be honest with you, I think one of the other things that was a big turning point was he obviously wanted to kind of change things drastically and quickly, because the success under Jimmy Hill, at one stage, I think it seemed to he wanted to change all that. He wanted the Noel Cantwell way, not the Jimmy Hill way. And consequently, we could kind of, one or two of us, we could see that, the parting of the waves with the fact that he started bringing players in and obviously leaving the players that played under Jimmy Hill, started to leave them out. So, and we could sense that at some stage he was going to get rid of us, Yeah. And as it turned out, that's what happened. But the ironic part about it, I think the season after, we actually did we come fifth in the league the following season?
No, we just avoided relegation 2 years running, and then finished sixth
That's right. We finished fifth,
Sixth.
and then we qualified for to go into Europe, didn't we? Yeah. I was quite fortunate, well, very fortunate at that time, because he bought Chris Catlin, and he bought Will Smith for a lot of money. But I finished up getting back into the side, and we actually played we played against is it Plovdiv?
Yeah.
We played against Plovdiv over in Bulgaria, and I got back into the side. So again, fortunate enough, had the experience of playing in Europe, and we went over there, and it was unbelievable. We played absolutely out of our skins, and we came away from there winning 4-1. And then we had obviously the following week or the following fortnight, we played and we tied for road, and I played in that game as well, and we beat them 2-0. So that was a great adventure. We'd actually won our first 2 games in Europe.
Yeah.
And then the writing on the wall was for me, because he actually called me in to say that he's had an offer from Charlton for me to go down and have talks with Charlton Athletic, not putting me under any pressure at all, but see what they have to say, and then leave it up to me. So obviously I said, fair enough. And then the draw came out for Bayern Munich, and I thought, oh, just my luck in it. I'd love, born in Germany, I'd love to basically have the opportunity to obviously play against Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
But it wasn't to be. I went down to Charlton, talked terms, and I decided, and I talked to my wife, and I decided that, well, I think no good basically stopping there anymore, because I could sense that, no, I wasn't going to be a regular, and you could feel the atmosphere changed, and all the new players were coming. So obviously I decided to sign for Charlton Athletic. But then the following week, I basically went to watch Dutch play at Highfield Road, and it was absolutely unbelievable game. Watch the players like Beckenbauer, players like that. It was really truly enjoyable to watch the game.
So you had 3 years under Noel, and you were pretty much a regular for the first couple of years. Would you say that Noel's style of play was maybe more defensive than Jimmy's?
Yeah, most definitely. You see, when Noel became manager, I'd done my ligaments, and I was in plaster from foot to hip for 3 months. And obviously Noel, apparently, he was told that I was kind of a real player, and was looking forward to seeing me obviously start performing. So during that time, I used to have to be driven to training every day. Although I was obviously in plaster from the bottom of my foot right onto the hip, I used to have to go in and do training and exercise every day under Norman Pilgrim, morning and afternoon. So I was chauffeur driven until the plaster came off, and then it took me 6 to 8 weeks before I got back into training. And then obviously started playing, and he put me in the side. But like you were saying, the whole system was different altogether. And the atmosphere seemed to change from what it used to be like. So I got to a stage near the latter part where I wasn't looking forward to going to training. And when that happens, that's another reason why the opportunity came along for me to start again when I signed for Charlton Athletic. So
you had 2 seasons at Charlton, did you?
Yeah, 2 seasons at Charlton. I basically stopped in the hotel for 8 or 9 months down at Blackheath, in Clarendon. So I stopped there the whole of the week, and then obviously come home for the weekends. My wife obviously she wasn't too keen on London, one thing or another. Obviously, I got two small children, you know, Carl and Jay. And Theo Foley was the manager. So, great guy. Obviously, played against him a few times when he was in Northampton. And the year we got relegated. And our last game was against Blackpool, up at Blackpool. And Theo kind of came up to me on the coach afterwards, and he said that we needed to talk urgently. There was a chairman. He wanted me to either move down or obviously go on the transfer list. Yeah. So that was the alternative. I either move down or I'm put on the list. Yeah. Now he said he didn't want me to go, but that was the alternative. You move down, live down here, or obviously you're off. So again, I was just quite fortunate as far as Northampton made an offer for me, and I think Dave Bowen, who was the Welsh manager.
Oh yes.
He was manager at Northampton. Yeah. So I travelled up to Northampton, discussed terms with him, and we both agreed. I agreed to sign. So I moved further home, up to Northampton, and then played at Northampton. But unfortunately, he was only there for about 6 months, and I think he became Welsh manager then, and he left Northampton, and we had a manager called Bill Dobson, from Fulham. For Fulham. He was, and I thought, oh, this is great, you know. Jimmy used to play for Fulham, and then now we get another manager from Fulham. Nice guy. You're really kind of tall, and he also used to kind of look very smart and suave, you know. And yeah, he was a good manager. I enjoyed playing under him.
Was when you dropped down when you moved from City to Charlton, dropping down a division, did you have to take a big pay cut in those days?
No, I had a good offer.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have to have a pay drop down. Yeah. It's obviously different in this day and age, but no, I was quite fortunate. Yeah. He gave me a good contract, and again, good bonuses as well.
And then at Northampton, did you take a cut at Northampton?
Yeah, I took a slight cut at Northampton, but then I thought, well, it's worthwhile because obviously, at one stage I used to travel down every day from Coventry to Charlton, and by the time I got home, you know, I was shattered and get up early in the morning, you get down there for training. Yeah. And the latter part before I moved to Northampton was really kind of tying me down. So in Northampton, I mean, it's just 20-25 minutes from ground to home. Made a big difference, and I enjoyed it playing Northampton.
And that was at the old Northampton ground, wasn't it? The old cricket ground.
That's right. Yeah. When you think of it, like used to kind of come out onto the pitch, and then you had a temporary stand over the other side of the pitch. It was to start off with. It was quite. I couldn't really kind of. Well, I couldn't seem to get used to it for about 2 or 3. About a couple of months before I really got used to the idea of it. It seemed to be very, very strange. But then when saying that, Sheffield United on the same length, didn't they? They had the same thing with the fact they had the cricket pitch as well, type of thing. So yeah.
So when you left Northampton, didn't you went into non-league? Did you?
Yeah, I went to the Borough, the Neaton Borough. So I went to Neaton Borough, and Jeff Coleman had a great season. We just missed out on getting promotion into the Football League, and the side that beat us was Wimbledon. Now Wimbledon, there wasn't one player. I don't think there was one player that was under 6 foot. They were absolutely massive, but very strong. So we just got pipped for promotion. And then I just had the one season there, and then I was approached by Weymouth Football Club. So I went down there for talks and on a full-time basis. And the money that they had was just unbelievable. They had a fantastic social club. It's called the Terracotta Club, and it was packed nearly every night with entertainment and one thing or another. So the revenue they got from that was just unbelievable. And they got me a lovely apartment right on the seafront. And they gave me 20,000 to spend on players, and consequently, the first player I managed to persuade was obviously to buy Jeff Astle. And Jeff had actually moved down to Dunstable under Barry Fry. Right. So I got in touch with Barry, and we did in the negotiations, and I bought Jeff Astle, and it cost the club in total what, £9,000. Well, 5,000 to the club and 4,000 to Jeff as a signing on fee. But those type of things happened in those days now and again in non-league, you know.
Yeah.
But he was a real asset to me. I mean, he got 24 goals from August to the end of December. But then he had an injury, which kind of he began to struggle then. We kind of were very lucky if I had 2 or 3 games that he could actually play for me because he was constantly injured. And then I had a call from Gil Merrick, who was manager at Atherstone at the time, and they were struggling. Gil was desperate, so he wanted to buy Jeff Astle. So I said, well, I told Gil that, to be honest with you, he wouldn't be any good for you because he's not 100% fit and he's struggling. He really is. But Gil was desperate. He said, look, I'm prepared to take a chance. So I actually sold him to Atherstone for 2,000. But unfortunately, within 6 weeks, Gil Merrick got the sack. Obviously, Jeff only played 2 games. So, but it was a risk that he wanted to take.
Yeah. Well, Dietmar, that's fantastic. Great to hear your memories of playing Coventry City, and then your.
Jim, it's been my pleasure. It's been my pleasure.
Really enjoyed it. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you soon.